Wandsworth Radio.
You seem to really care a lot about other people, as well as you're quite invested in other people's music careers, which isn't something you see very often, I would say.
Well, it's something that is my nature to do anyway, but I have a facility and I have an opportunity to be able to help lots of people by creating stages for them to be seen and heard at their very best. And I'm a stickler for detail. I want things to be the best they can possibly be. And if then things go wrong, well, I've done my best, right? But I will aim for the best I can be. And that includes creating a space where the sound is great for an artist, because it's all about the music, and the music is sound. And if it doesn't sound great, then you're doing everyone a disservice. But it's about fostering an energy where people feel respected and feel inspired and feel special, because artists need as much support as they can. So for the Kashmir Club and the Bedford, I've programmed well over 10,000 different artists over the last 15 years.
Yeah, because of course you founded the Kashmir Club. Mm-hmm. You also had a similar show, I guess, to this, where you brought up and coming artists and new music to BBC Radio London as well.
Yeah, it wasn't my show directly. I was kind of brought in as a co-host on an overnight show on Tuesday nights, initially with Joe Good. And I would just bring musicians who've been playing at the Bedford with me, and I'd say, listen, it's the late night show, but we'll go and get a coffee, and do you want to hang out on the radio? So I've brought Paulo Nutini in before anyone had ever heard of him. Imogen Heap came in, all kinds of people. But I learnt an enormous amount, first from Joe, who's an amazing broadcaster and very generous. And then when she moved to an earlier slot, Sadie Nine took over, who is another astonishingly talented radio presenter. She does the breakfast show on BBC Essex now. And we were all still great friends. But I learnt so much about how being a generous host makes everyone look and sound better. And being, because there are some people who it's all about them, right? So they might want to ask a question and then they'll just jump in and talk about themselves on top of it. And that kind of interview defeats the point of the interview in the first place. But actually, the more that your guest will glow, the more people will enjoy your show, and it's better for everyone. So I learned, an enormous amount from them, and that's, really the next generation of artists need as much help as they can get now. It's a very tough business.
One thing that I found very interesting, which is something you did at the Kashmir Club and now at the Bedford, is all of the gigs are free.
Yes.
Absolutely free. There's no cover charge for anyone who wants to come along. So they can see new artists, they can see some of their favourite artists. You even had Sheryl Crow, who did a 40-minute set, all for free. Yeah.
The point is, I normally work with people who can't really sell much of a ticket. So the Sheryl Crow thing was at the Kashmir Club, and it was a secret gig, for the want of the better word. But she came and played for nothing. I mean, to be honest, we can't pay the artist because we don't make any money.
Okay.
We make, and so it sounds like from the outside it might sound like an odd deal, but the way it works is I'm a songwriter and a performer. So I create an environment that I would be happy to be a part of, that I would look for. So if you gave me the choice of playing in a noisy pub to 50 people who were not paying much of an attention to me and gave me 50 quid, or to play to 50 people who might become my fans and on a bill with amazing other artists, but there's no entry fee and there's no payment, I would take the no payment, because the environment, the opportunity for me at that point in my career is of great value. Wherever we find an artist that can actually sell a ticket, then we're very happy to create a night and make it very easy for them to put on their own show and sell tickets and make money. But primarily, these are artists that are earlier in their careers. So they might bring 4 or 5 people or 8 or 9 people, but not substantial numbers. But cumulatively, by having a night with 4 or 5 acts, plus the people that come anyway, we have a very full room, and everybody benefits from that. Plus, there's no arguments about who's on the guest list. There's no arguments about who gets paid what. The only time that I ever had an argument with anyone was one night that we did years and years and years ago, where we put on a door charge and everyone was agreed what they were going to get. And then at the end of it, one of the acts decided that they didn't get what they thought they should have got. And it was so horrible. I thought, I just want to get rid of this. For some artists, this isn't the right formula. We're not the right gig. I understand that completely. But for other artists, their careers have really benefited from it. And the proof is, over the years, people like Paulo Nutini and James Morrison and Katie Tunstall and Newton Faulkner and have all done their early shows at the Bedford, and the Bedford in some ways played a little role into moving them to another level. So That's how we do it. We make it free to make it easy for people to discover great new music.
Everything I've ever learned about music and music business and music models is it's all about essentially bottom line making money, and the money is in live shows, particularly these days where everyone streams. And
it is, but the problem is we're working with artists that even if we put a door charge on, probably wouldn't sell many tickets. And then you'd get into that situation that some promoters do, where they force the artist to either buy tickets in advance and sell them, or penalise them if they don't bring 25 people who each pay £10 each. And it gets quite... And then you're booking acts that can only bring people. I would much rather put on one act that was truly sensational and only one person came to see them specifically, than to put on an act that I didn't think was very good but brought 50 people, because there's no point. Then I'm diluting the experience for everybody. And the Bedford isn't suitable for every artist. We have a particular genre that works well for us, and it's not every artist isn't at the right point in their career ready to play it. It needs somebody who's got their act together. We're not a place for you to start out and learn your craft. We're a place where once you've done that, you can now fine-tune it, you can polish it, and you can build your audience.
And you have had some amazing acts on as well, not even the ones that have already gone on to become very successful, like you've mentioned, Damien Rice, people like that. But when I went to your Christmas party, even Alona Dixon, which you mentioned just earlier on in the interview, Coffee Pot Drive, which were our track of the week a few months ago, will be coming on the show in a couple of months as well. Portland, whom I absolutely loved, phenomenal. How do you find them?
Well, partly they find me. Okay, so my curation is based on the fact that I've been doing it so long that people track me down. Partly because people will recommend someone to me. They'll go, Tony, I've just found this out. You will love them. And partly when I'm out and about, I'm always got my ears open for new music. I love all music, but my passion is being able to do something to help someone that needs help at that point in their career. And if I can add something to their career by giving them a great stage, it's not just the Bedford. I program shows at the Marylebone Summer Fair. We do a massive stage there that's fantastic for everyone. We do the turning on of the Christmas lights, and I always program unsigned and emerging artists through that. And I work with a lot of outlets to help artists.
I'm sure you have, because I feel like everyone in London who's ever owned or worked in a venue probably has come across this guy. Ed Sheeran, obviously doing phenomenal things right now. Did you work with him previously? Was he ever at the Bedford?
But the thing is, everybody in the UK can claim credit, right? Because he did do,
he played every single.
He played everywhere, so everyone can claim credit. That's fine. He is the poster boy for how to get it right, which is incredible hard work. There are lots of very lazy musicians that just can't be really bothered, who often think that just playing once or twice every now and then is good enough, and it's not. The harder you work, the more you can achieve, the luckier you will be. So he already was working so hard, but one night in particular did make a big difference. He called me up and he said he wanted to book the Bedford for a private show because he wanted to record a DVD and a live CD and release it and call it Ed Live at the Bedford. And so we did. And that night he put 300 people into a space that really should only take 250. It was absolutely rammed, and I know that a lot of people in the industry came specifically that night that then carried, like John Ollier became his agent that night, who saw him and went, okay. A lot of people realised that if he could do that on his own, something's happening here. So that was an important night in his career. It wasn't, he's got a great manager, Stuart Camp, and he was always going to happen. But I'd like to think that night had a little significant hike in his career at that moment. And you can still get it's all online still. You can get the CD and you can get the it's on Spotify and Edit the Bedford. It's quite a little testament. And he looks so young on the cover.
I can imagine. When did he come out now? 2010?
Something like that,
I think was when I first saw him on Jules Holland. I think was around then. So, he's definitely come a very long way. Yeah. Anyway, you're going to be performing a cover for us.
Yes.
Aren't you? What is the cover you have chosen?
As I said a little earlier, some of the artists that I grew up listening to really inspired my music creation. And Elton John, for me, is just an artist that has created some of the greatest pop music. Between him and Bernie Taupin, they've created songs that nobody else could have written and created. So I'm going to do one of my favourite songs. This is called Rocket Man. She packed my bags last night, pre-flight. 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a cab by then. I miss the earth so much, I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space on such a timeless flight. If you did, and I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, 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 'cause I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, burning out his fuse up here alone. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell. And there's no one there to raise them if you did. And all the science I don't understand. It's just my job 5 days a week. A rocket man, rocket man. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, 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 'cause I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, burning out his fuse up here alone. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time.